if we made it a priority to create safe spaces for people of all ages to learn about body safety? What if more people chose to live by a moral code and adopt ethics, even in song lyrics? The truth is, our current policies and politicians create and support a breeding ground for pedophiles because they're making room for people just like them. Statistically, who rapes the most women? Statistically, who are the majority of pedophiles? Who are the most serial killers? This land was not founded on freedom. It was founded on lies, broken contracts, on diseases being spread, on animals and plant species being wiped out so that they could pillage a land. A nation that desecrates a holy land and carves a face in the side of a mountain is not godlike. God is in the land, the trees. God is in the stones of gold the colonizers set monetary value to, the land they came to take advantage of. A man sat in front of a nation and told them exactly what he liked and what he wanted to do. I heard they like him dumb and agreeable. Do you know that we as a society could teach our children about body safety in school? Yet, we choose not to teach children anatomically correct body language in grade school at all. In some regions, teaching consent and personal boundaries is considered too controversial, so protective knowledge is excluded from curriculum. And some states require parental consent for health education, which limits access to safe body lessons, especially to those vulnerable children. And then there's the abstinence-only education, where certain policies focus solely on abstinence, completely neglecting discussion of body autonomy and safety because teachers say your parents should teach you to keep your legs closed. Schools have always prioritized subjects tied to standardized testing of knowledge not useful in daily life, leaving little room for financial literacy, let alone body-safe education. People in power would rather their children learn algebra than understand what a bad touch is. Why is that? And yes, body education is a parenting issue. Teaching this is the parent's responsibility, but many parents don't know much about these topics themselves and avoid uncomfortable conversations the same way they scratch their head when a student may ask them a question about a calculus problem. But instead of looking for answers, they use childish nicknames like Coco, Pocketbook, or Wee Wee when they talk to their children about sexual health. But here's the thing, these terms don't hold up in courtrooms of law. That means if a rich man with a good lawyer can convince a judge that child doesn't know the correct word for their body. So we can't be sure what happened, Your Honor. Our justice system is broken, but it was designed to be that way. When these people pray, they're not seeking holy righteousness. They're calling in angels and divine energy to divide and wage war. But toxic Christianity has made people so spiritually lazy, they can't even recognize that truth. People call themselves shamans, and followers blindly trust them without knowing who or what they actually serve. If they truly serve the mission of keeping children safe, wouldn't they just give them the tools to help protect themselves? Teaching children body safety, like how to set boundaries and basic understandings between good and bad touch, will not make them hypersexual, but it will protect them from someone's creepy cousin trying to touch them in the middle of the night at a sleepover. Teaching body autonomy in school is not woke. It's a real safety tool and should be in every classroom. These lessons can be taught with parents present, the same way we chaperone field trips. We can teach our children safety. We can teach them moral standards, and we can create safe havens for those who've already been harmed. We need to return to a village. A community-led village is full of people who speak up. Telling your friend's dad that you caught his 6-year-old daughter in the shower with a grown man isn't snitching, and it's not even enough. If the village finds out that you didn't beat that man, they're going to be mad at you too. Living in the village means getting the help needed so all our children go to school on time. It means being able to borrow a loaf of bread, getting respite from a neighbor or a play auntie so parents can take a mental break, a chance to sleep in or step away before anger boils over. It's having someone to answer a silly question, console a grieving heart, or notice when a child hasn't been seen. A community-led village offers stability and protection not only against predators, but also as a safety net for families struggling with mental health. We know what untreated trauma does. We know it takes years after childbirth for a mother's hormones to rebalance. That means her medication might need constant adjustment, or she might avoid using medications altogether if she's breastfeeding. The reality is that many mothers aren't given adequate support. Talk therapy once a week or once a month just isn't good enough to meet the mental health needs. Some mothers may never go back on medication and receive no medical treatment at all, creating toxic environments for kids and bouncing children between foster homes is not what's best for them. We should help children thrive where they live. Years ago, I walked into child protection believing paperwork could keep children safe. Yet experience taught me a harsher lesson. When race, poverty, gender, and untreated mental health braid together, harm multiplies. More than half of the Black children in the United States will face a CPS investigation before they turn 18. I've stood in crumbs where known maltreaters walk free because a child could not say vulva or penis. When a child's body has no name, the law loses its tongue. Research shows that barely 10% of U.S. children know correct genitalia terms, and clinicians link that gap to delayed disclosure of abuse. While the village matters, across the country, communities are proving there is a better way. Travis County, Texas, Child Welfare Reimagined. Family court judges, Foster Village Austin, and local elders wrap families in diapers, beds, and therapy before removal is even on the table. In Washington State, there's the Mockingbird Family model. One hub home anchors 6 to 10 satellite families sharing respite and monitoring. 83% of children experience 0 placement moves in a full year. Chicago and Lockport, Illinois, one family villages where professional parents raise siblings together. These aren't fairy tales, they are audited outcomes. Money tells on our values, so let's follow the district's ledger. Every continuance, every extra month in care is billable. Under federal title, DC can draw down a 50% match for administrative costs. Casework salaries, court reports, data entry, dollars that never touch a child's backpack. When placements stretch on, agencies and courts secure predictable revenue streams, while families watch the clock run out on reunification. What the numbers whisper. Redirect half of that $12,000 foster care stipend to rent support so grandma's lease passes inspection. Pass that money to peer monitor circles for mothers battling postpartum depression, and classroom units that teach body parts, boundaries, and consent, along with ABCs. And the hotline will quiet down. Prevention is cheaper than separation, and dignity costs the least of all. Working frontline, I learned that mothers in manic swings don't need more surveillance. They need immediate medication management and a nap. Children don't need strangers with clipboards. They need aunties who know their nicknames. Courts don't need further continuance. They need evidence that a 5-year-old can pronounce her own autonomy. So here is the charge I leave with every listener, every neighbor, every policymaker. Speak the truth of the body. Give children language that turns silence into testimony and fear into freedom. Invest in caregivers before the crisis. Mental health visits, paid family leave, rent that stays paid. These are prevention, not perks. And seed the village everywhere. Vote for Kin First laws. Volunteer in Mockingbird-style circles. Back basic income plots that let love do the work without bureaucracy's permission slip. When we tie funding to relationship and policy to belonging, child safety stops being a line item and becomes a living practice. So I leave you with this choice. Will we bankroll separation, or will we fund the communities that keep children close? Teach the real words, back caregivers before crisis, and plant kin first circles on every block. Do that, and the village takes root, strong enough to hold every child in safety.